Systems over goals, the atomic identity shift. Let's jump right into this explainer. Look, I want to start by validating something we literally all struggle with. We all want to change, right? We want to be healthier, wealthier, more productive. But usually, white-knuckling our way to these massive, life-altering goals, it just ends in failure. We put so much pressure on ourselves to transform overnight, and when we don't, we crash hard.
So why do we always fall off the wagon? Think about your own life for a second. We've all felt the absolute sting of a failed New Year's resolution. You look in the mirror, totally overwhelmed by the sheer discipline it takes to change. We start to think something is fundamentally broken within us because we just can't seem to stick with it. But as we're about to see, the problem isn't you. The problem is how you're approaching the change entirely.
Now consider this because it completely shatters how we usually think about ambition. Every athlete at the Olympics has the exact same goal: win gold. Every single candidate applying for a job, they all want to get hired. This proves that goals cannot be the magic differentiator for success if both the winners and the losers share the exact same ambition. The goal is necessary, sure, but it is entirely insufficient on its own.
Take a second to really let this sink in. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. If there's a gap between what you want and what you do every day, your daily habits will win every single time. We have got to stop obsessing over the finish line and start focusing on those tiny, seemingly insignificant daily routines that actually carry us there.
Section 1. The problem with goals. Focus on the journey, not the finish line. Here's the thing. When you live entirely for a goal, you're actually restricting your own happiness. You make this implicit deal with yourself. Once I lose the weight, then I'll be happy. Once I get that promotion, then I'll be successful. You're constantly pushing satisfaction away into some distant future. But think about a little acorn falling from an oak tree. That acorn isn't agonizing over the fact that it's not a massive tree yet. It's not criticizing itself. It is perfectly encoded to just keep growing, day by day. Systems let you fall in love with that daily process of growing, so you can actually be happy right now.
Section 2. Master the art of starting. The heavy front door.
So, how do we actually build these systems? Well, you have to abandon that toxic grind and hustle mindset. You don't need perfect motivation. The real secret is the 2-minute rule. If you want to build a new habit, scale it way down so it takes practically zero motivation. It should take 2 minutes or less. Read 30 books a year becomes read 1 page. Do yoga 4 days a week becomes roll out my yoga mat. You want to make it so laughably easy that you literally cannot say no.
Because, they say the heaviest weight at the gym is the front door. There's this incredible story about a guy named Mitch. Mitch wanted to get in shape, so he made a crazy rule. He would go to the gym, but he wasn't allowed to stay for more than 5 minutes. He'd drive there, do half an exercise, and just go home. Sounds totally ridiculous, right? But he wasn't trying to build muscle yet. He was just mastering the art of showing up. You have to establish a habit before you can improve it.
And that gives us a beautiful mantra for the hard days. Reduce the scope, but stick to the schedule. On a day when you're exhausted, stressed out, and the weather is just terrible outside, don't just collapse on the couch because you can't do a full-hour workout. Do 5 minutes. Do 10 squats in your living room. You might not get a massive physical benefit that day, but you refuse to throw up a zero. And by avoiding that zero, you keep the habit alive. You see, you don't need some massive, cinematic transformation montage. You just need a 1% daily improvement. Because time magnifies whatever you feed it. If you get just 1% better every day, compound interest takes over, and by the end of the year, you are 37 times better. On day 1, the difference between eating a healthy salad and eating a donut? Visually 0. But over 10 years, the trajectory of your entire life is completely different.
Section 3. Cracking the habit loop. Designing your environment.
Now that we know we have to start small, let's look at how our brains actually process these actions. Every single habit you have, from mindlessly checking your phone to making your morning coffee, loops through 4 neurological stages. A cue gets your attention. The craving is your brain predicting a benefit. The response is the action you actually take. And the reward is that sweet satisfaction that teaches your brain to do it all over again next time.
Understanding those 4 steps gives us the 4 laws of behavior change. If you want a habit to stick, you manipulate these laws. Make the cue obvious. One woman literally started sleeping in her running clothes so she could just roll out of bed and hit the pavement. Make it attractive. Another person made healthy lunches fun by calling them a party in a bowl. Make it easy. Remember that 2-minute rule? And make it satisfying. A stockbroker literally kept 2 jars on his desk,
And every time he made a sales call, he moved a paperclip from one to the other. That satisfying little clink kept him going until he became the top performer in his firm.
This brings us to a brilliantly practical tool called habit stacking. Instead of trying to carve a brand new routine out of thin air, you tie a tiny new habit to something you already do on autopilot. Like, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 60 seconds. You're basically using the momentum of your old life to effortlessly pull you into your new one.
Section 4. Building your new identity. The ultimate transformation.
This is really the climax of this explainer. Because all these tiny 2-minute actions, they aren't just life hacks. True change is an identity shift. Moving away from what you're doing and focusing on who you are becoming. Identity is simply the collection of beliefs you hold about yourself. And you don't get a new one by standing in a mirror and chanting, "Fake it till you make it." Beliefs are a two-way street. Your behavior leads the way. You let your small, undeniable daily actions serve as literal proof to yourself that you are changing.
Look at this incredible psychological shift. Imagine two people trying to quit smoking, and they're both offered a cigarette. The first one says, "No thanks, I'm trying not to smoke." That person still deeply identifies as a smoker. They're just white-knuckling it, using sheer willpower to resist. But the second person says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." Boom! The story has completely changed. They aren't resisting anything, because smoking just isn't something they do anymore.
So how do we actually get that new identity? Well, every single action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Writing one single sentence casts a vote that you are a writer. Doing a pathetic 5-minute workout when you really didn't want to, that casts a massive vote that you are an athlete who doesn't miss days. You are literally building up a body of evidence, day by day, paperclip by paperclip, proving to your own brain that you are a completely new person.
But listen, you don't have to do this entirely on your own. To truly lock in this new identity, you have to look at your environment. As the source material says so perfectly, join groups where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. We are deeply social creatures, and our desire to fit in will almost always overpower our desire to improve. If you want to be a reader, join a book club. If you want to be an athlete, join a run club. Surround yourself with people who naturally, effortlessly pull you toward your best self.
We started this explainer by talking about the heavy, crushing burden of massive goals and how they so often make us feel like total failures. But I want you to walk away today looking at the immense, quiet power of your tiny daily routines. Your life is not shaped by what you do occasionally on your absolute best days. It is shaped by what you do consistently on your totally average ones. So I'll leave you with this. Look at your routine right now. Who are your daily habits voting for today?